Yeah, that sounds better.
All of a sudden, I could discriminate what people were saying. I could go into my conference room and hear everyone without asking them to repeat what they said.
Oh, they're working great. Good, they're working great. Yeah.
The technology itself has advanced so much that it's made it more interesting and more fun. And I really actually do hear a lot better.
We can check it.
Well, most people start to develop hearing loss as they age. And the first signs of a hearing loss might be that they start missing parts of conversation, they start having difficulty hearing conversation when they're in the presence of background noise, or they might have difficulty hearing higher pitched voices such as women's voices or children's voices. And they start to feel like everybody's mumbling, but the truth is that it's really just the effects of the hearing loss.
For the hearing test, I'm going to put these headphones on your ears.
So most individuals will not really recognize that they're having difficulty with their hearing, because hearing loss can happen very slowly over time. So usually what happens is other people start to notice it. Friends and family members, they start telling that person they're asking people to repeat themselves too much, or maybe their television is kept a little bit too loud, and they don't even realize that it's happening.
First you'll hear me say some words. They will get quieter as I speak. Just repeat that.
So another reason might be denial. It's very hard for us to admit as human beings that we're having difficulty and that we're having a challenge to deal with in our lives.
Well, I had hearing loss at a very young age. I lost my hearing in both ears. It was subsiding in my late teens. By the time I was in my 50s, I was very hard of hearing, but I denied it for a long time. I did have other hearing aids before these, but they did not work as well, and I didn't really like to use them.
My hearing loss was probably identified several years ago, maybe about 5 years ago. I'm a speech pathologist by background. My sister actually is an audiologist. So, you know, having someone in the family who can tell that someone's having difficulty hearing and discriminating words was pretty obvious. So I eventually decided that I had to do this because it was impacting my business work as well as my personal life.
It took me about 2 years to say, okay, I really got to go and find some hearing aids that work well for me.
I guess being a busy person, I kept delaying to a point where it finally got to the point where I said, I'm going to do something. I'm going to take the time, because I knew it was going to be a period of adjustment. And so I wanted to make sure that I was at the point where I was really motivated to do what I needed to do.
What surprises people most about new hearing aids is the technology and just how much power you get in a tiny little package. It used to be that hearing aids had to be big and clunky and they were very visible. And hearing aids today have changed so dramatically that they are really, really tiny and you get a lot of power within a teeny tiny little package.
I chose very small hearing aids. It's a very small aid, it has batteries, and it fits easily behind both ears. Easy to put in, and you really can feel them once they're in.
So while hearing aids can be very helpful and they do give people access to better sound, they do take some personalization and they do take some getting used to. So we will fit a hearing aid on an individual, and then we will do customization according to their hearing loss and the specific needs that they might have depending on the situations in which they've been having difficulty. And then we will ask them to come back for a 2-week follow-up visit. And then at that time, we'll address some issues that they might have had over the course of those first 2 weeks when using their hearing aids.
You do have to get used to the fact that a hearing aid is basically a microphone. And so I have to be careful I don't have them up too high because you can really get blasted out. Learning how to adjust them so it's comfortable without being too loud.
The type of hearing aid and the technology that someone uses and someone needs in their hearing aid is going to vary depending on how active someone's lifestyle is. For someone who lives a very quiet lifestyle, they might not need the highest level of technology, and a lower level, meaning a less expensive level device, is going to work just fine for them.
The thing that surprised me most is the options with the hearing aids themselves. As I said, I'd had hearing aids, but they didn't work very well, and I was never happy with them. And when I looked at the options, I realized I really needed more than what I'd had.
So some of the other accessories that are new include smartphone apps. So there's an app for everything, including hearing aids. So some of the manufacturers have developed smartphone apps that allow individuals to use their smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android phone, to control their hearing aid, make volume adjustments, make program changes. You can even locate your hearing aids using GPS technology. So for individuals who are worried about misplacing their hearing aids, you can connect your hearing aids to a smartphone app and use that app to locate your hearing aids.
What I use is the iPhone. There's a great app. I'm able to plug in the volume and determine when it's too loud. I can go into the iPhone and adjust the volume on both ears. I can determine whether I am in an environment like a restaurant where there's a lot of ambient noise in the background that's very distracting. So there is actually one of the portions of the iPhone where I can actually switch to that particular mode.
What I love about my role at HASA is I get to do what I love, which is help people stay connected to their world with better hearing. And I really love that HASA is a nonprofit and that we play a huge part in our community.
The Hearing and Speech Agency has a fabulous reputation, and I've known the administrators for years, so I was really ready to seek it out through their services.
Well, they're very kind. They're very efficient. I think that obviously they're very knowledgeable. I was happy about not only the testing, but the explanation that I got about my ears. I thought my right ear was gone completely, but that was not true, and I'm hearing very well out of the right ear with the assistive. What I've liked about it is that they're very proficient and they're nice. So it's pleasant to be here.
Most people that have been having difficulty with their hearing say that they love the fact that they can actually hear again. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do.